A few questions for him, just because they all really group nicely together to talk a bit about our dear partners in Lithuania. So in the EU, Lithuania has become an example of resistance when it comes to navigating economic pressures imposed by China. How does Lithuania balance the need to stand firm against coercion with the priority to maintain diplomatic relations and engage in dialogue with potentially coercive actors? Can you give us a little overview of how Lithuania has navigated this space, the lessons learned in other countries who are currently facing this similar situation, even goes beyond China? Now we're looking at Russia, coercion, and what is the importance of cooperation, information sharing among EU, and how can we best try to tackle this? Thank you, Vice Minister. Should be on already.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. It's a great honor to be this morning with you. But first of all, I would like to thank our co-hosts of this event, namely Freedom House and Alliance of Democracy. Thank you very much for cooperation. Answering your very interesting and very timely question, I would start from, you mentioned Lithuania's experience dealing with China's coercive measures, but I would like to start by saying that Lithuania has more than 3 decades long experience dealing with authoritarian regimes and their coercive measures. In 1990, when we regained independence, 34 years ago, it was 11th of March when our parliament declared independence. In a few weeks, Moscow introduced total 100% economic blockade of Lithuania. At that time, we were 100% dependent on Russia. So that was our first experience, and we survived. Then speaking about Russia and neighboring Belarus, which in the beginning we had hope that they will choose a path of democratic development. Unfortunately, with Lukashenko taking power, Lukashenko made Belarus an authoritarian state. So we had many attempts from Russia and Belarus and other authoritarian regimes to make pressure on us. I can give you many examples, but just one very illustrative. Year 2014, at that time we were 100% dependent on natural gas supplies from Moscow, and we paid the highest price in Europe for natural gas, $543 for 1,000 cubic meters. But there were 2 reasons why we paid the highest price. One, as I mentioned, we were 100% dependent on supplies from Russia, but other, probably more important political reason, we were quite not quite, but we criticized, we were negative with regard to Russia's aggressive behavior against other countries, Georgia, Ukraine. As you know, Russians attacked for the first time Ukraine 10 years ago. So that was why they made us to pay the highest price. But starting from 2015, when we opened our national LNG terminal, we started to pay normal price. We started to buy gas from United States and Norway. So that is, I believe, very important example how, especially for small and medium-sized countries, it's important not to be dependent on autocratic regimes. And now you mentioned China. Yes, in 2021 we left this vicious format initiated by China, 17+1. Then we started more active cooperation with Taiwan. So in December 2021 they introduced 100% blockade of our export. Again, it was to some extent dramatic experience, but again, we survived. And last example, 3 days ago, Lukashenko introduced 100% of blockade of Lithuania's export to Belarus, because we closed 2 more border crossing points. That was a reaction from their side. And now I would like to present you some figures from our foreign trade statistics illustrating that all those measures introduced by recently autocratic regimes against Lithuania, they almost have no effect. Lithuania's foreign trade in 2023. Lithuanian origin export, 87% of Lithuanian origin export in 2023 went to like-minded countries, EU, NATO, Indo-Pacific, European Economic Area. Only less than 1%, 0.9, went to autocratic Belarus, Russia, and China. We decoupled. In fact, we decoupled from China, from Russia, from Belarus. They have no leverage on us using economic coercion instruments. I would be happy to share with you many more examples, but what is important, lessons learned, and what we would like to advise to other countries. So, 5 points. First of all, never trust autocratic regimes. Never. They share not the same values as us, and their goal, be it Russia, China, or autocratic Belarus, or Iran, North Korea, their main goal is to destroy our rules and values-based world order. Second, I would like to quote NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg. Last year, 2023, he made 2 important statements. One is, I quote, "Freedom is more important than free trade," and second one, "Preserving our values is more crucial than pursuing profit." That means considering your potential economic cooperation with autocratic regimes, you have to think seriously, national security versus profit. Our choice is very clear. National security is top priority. Our national intelligence community every year in March they make a public report on threats to Lithuania's national security, and starting from 2019, they name 3 countries, Russia, Belarus, and China, as 3 countries posing main threat to Lithuania's national security. Number 3, third point, resilience. Dealing with autocratic regimes, you have to be resilient. You can increase your resilience by many ways. Diversification of your trade, effective FDI, foreign direct investment screening system, strategic infrastructure protections. But the most important point is unity. Together we are stronger. So being members of European Union and NATO, close partners to Indo-Pacific countries, we small Lithuania, 2.8 million population, we feel very strong. And I would like to give you some figures demonstrating that we really are stronger than autocrats. Russia's GDP last year was $1.8 trillion. It's less than Italy and more or less the same as South Korea, Republic of Korea. China's GDP was around 18 trillion. So altogether, around 20. Now, EU plus NATO countries' GDP last year was 52 trillion. That means 2.7 times more than Russia plus China. If we add 4 AP4 countries, Republic of Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan, we have 60 trillion GDP. AP4, EU, NATO. So that means more than 3 times. So together, it's obviously we are stronger. And last but not least, just I would like to give you an example of how important legal regulation is in the framework of EU. So during last 3 years, European Union approved EU regulation on foreign direct investment screening, EU international procurement instrument, foreign subsidies regulation, EU Critical Materials Act, CHIPS Act. We started discussions on European Economic Security Strategy. We approved last year EU anti-coercion instrument. So these also are absolutely important elements, legal acts. They play a very important role also of, protecting union as such, individual national countries, including Lithuania. And these acts also play a crucial role of deterrence against coercive measures from autocratic regimes. So maybe I would stop here and would be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Vice Minister.